5 trusted tractor brands have shipped engines and transmissions that failed before the first real season was even over. These are not failures from years of hard use. They happened straight off the trailer or within the first few hundred hours of ownership. This countdown runs from worst to least severe. It is built from real owner records, complaint filings, and one confirmed federal recall. By the end, you will know which names to trust less at the dealer lot and why. Starting at the worst end of the list, we have TYM. TYM builds compact and utility tractors priced to compete directly with Kubota and Coyote. Several of their models are powered by Yanmar diesel engines under a formal supply agreement between the two companies. On paper, that gives the brand real engineering credibility. It is sold with a factory warranty that stretches up to 6 years on the powertrain. That is a genuinely strong number for the price point. Here is what happened to one owner. He took delivery of his TYM in December of 2021. Before he even got it off the trailer, the hydrostatic transmission would not return to neutral properly. Shifting between low, medium, and high gears was rough from the very first drive around the yard. This is not a symptom that develops after years of wear. It was there from the moment the tractor came off the truck. He kept driving it anyway, and the transmission finally failed completely at roughly 650 hours. What started as a shifting problem ended as a total transmission loss. That is the kind of failure that leaves a tractor undrivable rather than just difficult to operate. Fixing it required completely disassembling the rear end of the tractor. Parts to do the job were not readily available, so the repair dragged on for months. This was not a tractor that broke down from hard years of use. It was a transmission that was defective from day one. It never got properly diagnosed until it destroyed itself completely. If you are dealing with a smaller, less established brand, this is worth remembering before your next stop at the dealer lot. Next up is LS Tractor. This one is a little different because the tractors themselves are not badly engineered. LS packs real horsepower for the price. It backs that up with a 6-year limited powertrain warranty on top of 2 years of bumper-to-bumper coverage. That is a stronger package than most competitors offer at this price point. The problem shows up in a documented complaint filed with the Better Business Bureau. An owner's XR4140 shut down abruptly at 500 hours while mowing and would not restart. The dealer took over 5 weeks just to figure out what had happened. The cause was a wiring harness that had been rubbing against the tractor's frame until it wore completely through and shorted out. This is a factory routing problem. A harness was installed too close to a moving or vibrating part. That is not a wear item failing on schedule the way a belt or filter would. The owner said his own research turned up the same failure on other units. He called it a well-known problem on that model. A wiring harness that shorts out from frame contact is not a random defect. It is a design or assembly oversight that leaves the tractor completely dead with no warning in the middle of whatever job you were using it for at the time. If you want more breakdowns like this, ones built from real owner records instead of glossy dealer brochures, go ahead and subscribe now before we get into the next 3. Third on the list is Coyote. This one stings a little more because Coyote has spent years building a reputation for reliability. They even market what they call the industry's best warranty. Owners of the CK and DK lines have generally been happy with their tractors. That is exactly why this next case matters so much. A documented complaint filed with the Better Business Bureau involved a CS2510S. the right rear axle completely detached from the tractor while it was in use. When the issue was investigated, the cause traced back to something that should never have happened on a brand new machine. A snap ring, a small part meant to hold the axle assembly together, had simply never been installed at the factory. It was not worn out. It was not damaged. It was just missing from the moment the tractor left the assembly line. In a separate complaint, an owner reported that his tractor's hydraulic pump wore out around 550 hours. The replacement pump lasted only a short time before it failed too. An axle detaching mid-operation is not a comfort complaint or a performance gripe. It is a structural failure that can happen while the tractor is moving. It traces directly back to a part that was left out on the assembly line, not a part that simply wore down over time. Fourth is Mahindra. This one is less about a single broken unit and more about a decision baked into the design itself. It is a problem that shows up across an entire range of models rather than just one bad serial number. Mechanics working through owner forums point to a fuel tank mounted low on the frame with no dedicated lift pump. That forces the injection pump to pull fuel uphill through the filters on its own, working harder than it was ever designed to. The factory fuel lines have also been described as prone to air leaks, even when brand new. That only makes the fuel starvation problem worse. The result shows up across multiple owners and multiple model years, including the 4025, 4035, and 6530 lines. It shows up as stalling, white smoke, and sudden loss of power in the middle of a job, sometimes with no warning at all. This is a fuel delivery system that was never given the one component it needed to reliably feed the engine. Owners across 3 separate model lines have paid for that shortcut with stalls and repeat repairs over the years. The fix mechanics keep landing on is a simple aftermarket electric fuel pump. It is a cheap part solving a problem the factory should have solved before the tractor ever left the plant. Closing out the list at the least severe spot is Kubota. Kubota may surprise you by showing up on this list at all, given the reputation the brand carries as the gold standard in the compact tractor world. It is backed by the largest dealer network in the country, which makes this next part sting a little more than it otherwise would. Here is the case. Kubota BX, GR, ZD, and ZG models were built between 2014 and 2018. They were sold nationwide for anywhere between $5,000 and $35,000. These models were the subject of an official federal recall through the Consumer Product Safety Commission. A pressurized coolant reservoir was found to spray hot coolant onto the operator under certain overheating conditions. Kubota confirmed as many as 3 burn injury reports tied to the defect. The company issued a free replacement cap to fix it at no cost to owners. This lands at the bottom of the severity list for one reason. It was a real mechanical defect, the same as everything else on this list, but it was identified, recalled, and fixed properly instead of being left for owners to discover and pay for on their own. Kubota owners outside those specific model years and serial ranges are not affected by any of this. So, here is what connects every entry on this list. Each one traces back to a specific mechanical failure, a transmission that was broken from the factory, a wiring harness routed against a moving part, a snap ring left out of an axle assembly, a fuel system missing a lift pump, a pressurized cap that could fail under heat. The severity comes down to 2 things: how dangerous or total the failure actually is, and whether it ever got properly fixed for the people who owned it. Before you sign anything on your next tractor, search real owner complaints for the exact model you are considering. Do not just take the glossy brochure claims at the dealer lot at face value. 10 minutes of searching now can save you months of downtime later. If you've dealt with something like this yourself, drop a comment and let us know which brand gave you the most trouble and which failure on this list surprised you the most.